I'm Tommy Marshall.
I'm Robert Red Daniel.
Red, it is an absolute pleasure to be back on the stage with you this year for the Fintech South Innovation Challenge.
Wouldn't want to be anywhere else, Tommy.
I heard Jonathan and Allie say this is often a highlight of the conference. I absolutely agree. And being with you, Red, as many of you in the audience know, Red is the funniest guy in FinTech. And so I guess I'm putting it on the spot.
Tommy, if you really wanted some jokes, I mean, you're going to have to come to a stand-ups and startup show.
Oh, yeah. But is there a sticker for that?
There might be a sticker for that. Of course there's a sticker for that.
You
didn't get one,
Lena
see
gets
me. Yeah, you get it. You all get a sticker if you come up and find me afterwards. But seriously, I'll give you one joke just to start us off.
Okay, good, thank you.
How can you tell a FinTech founder's deck?
A FinTech founder's what?
Deck. Like pitch deck.
Oh, got it. Yeah. I don't know.
It's full of like 20 FinTech buzzwords, and then this one revenue chart that looks like a ski jump.
Okay.
If you're VC, you would be laughing right now because you've seen those and you've laughed a little bit.
I think the laugh meter is pretty low on that.
Yeah.
I got more laughs.
Well, I'll use Gemini instead of ChatGPT next time.
Okay, good.
AI, anyone?
Thanks again, everybody, for being here. Let's give you a little bit of context, seriously, for the Fintech South Innovation Challenge. We are in our 11th year of this program. And this program was started by Sean Banks. And I know many of you know Sean, and we're going to be recognizing him tomorrow, and as he's going to be inducted into the Georgia Fintech Hall of Fame. Sean, of course, is from TTV Capital, who's also one of our sponsors for this effort. And when Sean was pulling this together, it was really wanting to have a dedicated program to help very, very early stage FinTech founders and really help find a way to help our community rally around them. That was the essence of the vision when he started to pull this together 11 years ago. We've been very fortunate this year to have some great sponsorship. You just saw the video from Deluxe. I mentioned TTV Capital. You're going to see representatives from both those companies up here in a minute from our judging panel. So Red, give us a little bit of perspective of what's been happening over the last 4 weeks in the lead up to this moment.
Yeah, it really takes months to pull this together. I mean, anybody who's run a cohort, an accelerator, it's exactly like that. We had 18 applicants apply for this opportunity to be up here, be part of this cohort. They were carefully selected down to 9. They went through a 4-week program that we led forward with mentors, with education. We were fortunate to have the likes of ATDC, Trevelino Keller, FinTech Ventures Fund. We had Troutman Pepper and Whitfley all spending their time and talents to help our founders get better at what they do and understand the world of FinTech that they're working in.
There were also many, many hours from many of you in this room that acted as mentors to these FinTechs, and we want to, again, thank you. The mentors are, again, a critical part of helping us as a community really support and embrace these founders and help them through these very difficult first moments and years of their evolution. We had 9 startups that were selected from a broad applicant pool this year. Those startups, we flashed them up here behind me, Believe AI, Blended, Catch It, Honeypot Technologies, Kickstart AI, Lulo, Pagarva, PromptWorks, and ThriftShip. You have a chance to meet all of these participants in the showcase event, which is in the agenda. So please make an effort to come and just say hello to these founders in the showcase setting as the agenda progresses.
And last week, these 9 founders pitched their hearts out in front of several judges to narrow down to get to the 3 that will pitch on stage. I got to tell you, hands down, I am so proud of this group. They were all phenomenal. I think most of the folks were saying this was our best year yet. Mm-hmm. They were truly unique. They're doing some amazing things. I encourage you to meet them. Give them a warm round of applause for all 9 of those companies. It's hard to chase your dreams. So We had judges from FIS, Synovus, and Venture South pick the top 3 who will actually pitch to you in a few moments. So get ready to cheer just as loud for them when they come out on stage and wow you with what they're doing. And get the big prize.
Let me tell you about the prizes, because they're good. First off, the winner gets $25,000 in cash grant, completely non-dilutive. There is admission into the ATDC, that's the Advanced Technology Development Center's FinTech Vertical Program, led by the one and only Red. They'll come into the Accelerate level of that program. And then we also have extended mentorship support. And then we have an additional kind of special effort that's provided by one of our partners. And so I'd like to bring out my friend Stephen Walsh from Keeper Solutions, who's been an integral part of supporting these founders through this special program over the years. So Stephen, tell us about it.
Thank you, Tommy. Hello, everybody. Yeah, so Keeper Solutions, you may be aware of us. We've been working with fintech founders for the last 14 years, helping them to design, develop, launch, scale, AI-enable fintech platforms across payments, lending, wealth management, and lots more. So we're really proud to have been sponsors of the Innovation Challenge for these past 3 years. And our commitment to the ecosystem here in Atlanta, Georgia, runs deep. Last year, we were honored to work with Alex and the team in Good Agriculture, where we ran a design sprint with them, which is a human-centric design process, where we were able to help them to design their MVP, which they've launched, and has really helped them to complete their latest round and to get good product out into the market. So we're delighted to have done that, and we're even doing more now with our design sprint with all the AI tools and our AI lab workbench. So we're looking forward to seeing the pitches here today, and really looking forward to working with the winner to deliver even more value and help them on their road to success. So
Thanks, Stephen.
Thanks, Tommy.
To you
Thank
and
you,
to
Reg.
Keeper.
Cheers.
Appreciate it. All right, I think we need to get our show on the road. You want to tell us about the judges?
Yeah, there's a lot on the line, and who will be deciding these winners? We've got an esteemed grouping of judges here. I want to introduce you to Kristen Castell from the Center of Advancing Financial Equity, also known as CAFE. Rachel Hamilton from TTV Capital.
Yogs Jayaprakasam from Deluxe, their CTO, and Jonathan King of Coinbase Ventures. We want to say good luck to all the finalists, and we'll be back after judging.
Thank you.
Tolly's in the grocery store checking out when suddenly the transaction freezes. The cashier is frustrated with her, and her infants start crying. She can hear people in the growing line behind her whispering about her using food benefits. She found out that the Cheerios box she got is the wrong size, and she just wants to get out of that store as quickly as possible. Now, Talia is one of 13 million people who qualify for the Women, Infants, and Children Benefit Program, or WIC. WIC mandates the brand, size, and type of food that Talia can get, so she struggles to know what she can buy. Meanwhile, there's 1,400 CPG brands that find it nearly impossible to let her know that their products are approved. Almost 40% of WIC benefits go unredeemed every single month. And at the same time, 1 in 5 children in the US doesn't know when their next meal will be. That is where Lulo comes in. Lulo shows families while they're in the aisle shopping exactly what they can get before they get to the checkout counter. With Lulo, Talia can connect her benefits to see her balance, scan an item to instantly check its eligibility, and discover more brands her kids will love. With Lulo, WIC shopping is quick, easy, and dignified. Now, we've firsthand seen how much this is needed because existing solutions are missing the mark. Other benefits apps don't really focus on WIC. The state-run apps are clunky and they can't feature brands. And that leaves brands to send physical mail to WIC clinics with hopes that that information somehow trickles down to families. Lulo fills this gap as the only platform that's solving for WIC with a modern UX that brands can leverage to be able to connect with families. Now, WIC benefits work different because rather than a dollar amount, they provide set amounts like ounces of cereal or gallons of milk. And this means that a WIC shopper doesn't have to worry about price. They can pick any item that they're approved for. It also makes brands eager to get in front of a non-price sensitive customer. We generate revenue by running precision targeted media campaigns for brands, and we charge them in 3 ways: by impressions, by redemptions, and on the insights that we deliver. But it's not just food brands. There's an entire ecosystem of companies that are looking to reach income-verified consumers, from financial services to retail. And Lulo is quickly becoming the go-to platform to reach these families. We're starting with WIC because it's the most complex benefit, and it has the most acute pain points for families. This creates a high barrier to entry and a strong initial wedge for us. But we know WIC doesn't cover a family's full monthly grocery shopping needs. Once we capture WIC, we're planning to expand into SNAP, or the food stamps program that serves 42 million Americans. This will help us increase basket sizes, open up new product categories, and drive up our revenue per user. From there, our vision is to serve the full grocery needs of low to moderate income households, a $1.5 billion annual revenue opportunity that's in line with our mission: help families put more food on the table. Our team brings years of experience to benefits access. I personally spent the past few years as a product manager at Propel, helping to build and scale a mobile app that 5 million SNAP households use to manage their benefits. Our team collectively has over 30 years of experience building in civic technology and startups, and half of our team grew up on WIC themselves. This expertise has enabled us to reach 15,000 monthly active users, and our growth has largely been driven by word of mouth and community partnerships. I personally moved to Atlanta in the past few months because of the traction that we were seeing with Georgia families. Our paid acquisition cost is under 35 cents a user, and demand is surging. We have 12,000 families on our waitlist who are eager to join, and our focus is clear over the next year: meet this demand by expanding to more states. And we're actively developing AI-powered features that help families maximize across both their SNAP and WIC balances. We're building on our early revenue traction, and we have $26K in campaigns set to launch this quarter with a leading CPG brand as well as a lifeline provider. And we're in final stage conversations with a leading national retailer. So come join us in building a future in which all parents can provide in a way that respects their time and dignity. Thank you.
I'll start. First, I want to say congratulations, and really impactful what you built and really helping a lot of people. I'd love to dig in more on your go-to-market, and particularly you have the two-sided business, like how you're working with the brands or acquiring brands, and then also how are you getting in front of the actual consumers?
Yeah, our consumer growth is largely driven by about 40% word of mouth, about 40% mostly going through social media and different moms groups and putting some paid spend around the already organic videos and content that people are sharing about Lulo, and about 20% through partnerships with community-based organizations. On the brand side, there's WIC conferences that all brands come and represent to try and get in front of state officials, and so it's a pretty concentrated way to quickly meet across a lot of brands and be able to build our pipeline that we currently have there.
Thank you.
Would you,
Go ahead.
would you speak about what it's going to take to unlock the other states?
Yeah, so we need 2 things when it comes to states. Is one, a participant's benefits balance, and so we access that through user consent through state-run portals. And then we also need a state's approved product list, or their APL, and that's a list of thousands and thousands of barcodes that they've been able to build. So we are able to work in one portal that serves about 10 different states right now, so we're working on expanding to those beyond New York and Georgia right now, and we're also unlocking another portal that will have another 25 states that we'll be able to cover. So that's our primary focus on that side. And then when it comes to APLs, there's a mix between states publicly posting those and having to submit FOIA requests in order to access those. But we've been building out kind of a proprietary database that has over 40,000 products right now. And we also include both images, nutrition information, dietary tags as well. And it helps speed up our expansion by state to be able to quickly kind of map over based on the state data.
Impressive product and great cause behind that as well. So congratulations first. The TAM that you showed, how are you guys thinking about scaling your product as you scale the go-to-market in order to capture those TAM as well?
Yeah, so we're set to expand about 20 new states with balance checking kind of by the end of September here. And so we're kind of quickly working towards that acceleration. And then we have a lot of go-to-market in terms of kind of both paid and also like organic acquisition. We found this kind of like repeatable loop of like bringing moms and families in to be able to like test and try the product. And then they're immediately like, oh my God, I love this thing. I need to go tell other people about it. And that's been like super fast for us being able to expand into other states. And then we have a pipeline of a lot of CPG brands that are like, okay, once you hit these growth targets, like we're ready to go. And so it's just a matter of like executing on state expansion for us right now.
Got it.
On the CPG side, can you talk a little bit more about the business model and how you think the business model levers will change as you expand beyond WIC to some of those other programs?
Yeah, so what's really unique right now is that they're really focused on media campaigns because of that non-price sensitive customer. And there's a few things that are super unique about WIC, right? As grocery prices go up, more families that are price sensitive are turning towards store brands and lower cost items. And so CPGs are kind of seeing this spend turn away. And so it's saying, hey, I can capture this user or this family that doesn't have to make that trade-off and that decision. The second thing is they're meeting a family when they're first developing their food habits. Like these are some of the first solid foods that a family's trying, and being able to establish a early on relationship with a family we found is really valuable for CPG brands for that kind of like extended acquisition. And so we've seen a lot of kind of blended campaigns around working across like our different media touch points with families. And really kind of our biggest sell there is a family's using our app about 9 times a month. When they're planning to go WIC shopping, and then when they're in the aisle, actually making a decision about the product that they're gonna get. And so that in real time kind of targeted advertising is exactly what CPGs are looking for.
Thank you.
Okay, so everyone's favorite topic in question, AI technology. Can you dig into your product? Like what technology, how was it built? Like, what are you thinking about in the future with that?
Yeah, definitely. We've seen, I think the next pain point for us to tackle is we've seen across like WIC and SNAP balances as families are going to a lot of different supermarkets and places and just spending hours and hours on meal planning and answering that time-old question as a mom of like, what am I gonna feed my kids? And so we see a lot of opportunity in what we're developing of being able to access a family's SNAP balance, being able to access their WIC balance, collecting cultural preferences around things they want to eat, and being able to bring in grocery store data and deals data as well to be able to kind of generate plans that help families reduce that amount of time. I think one of the things we've been most excited about is there's a time tax to being poor in America, right? And we found that our current app and solution is saving families about 30 minutes on average in WIC shopping. We want to continue to take away at that time tax by building AI solutions that help families kind of really speed up a lot of these processes of planning that they're already doing.
Great, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thanks, y'all.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. All the best.
Thanks so much.
Hey everyone. Hi everyone. It's nice to see everyone in the audience today. Glad you're here. My name is John, and I want you guys to close your eyes for a second and imagine something. You're at your favorite coffee shop, it smells awesome, you're ready to check out, you take out your card, all you have to do is tap it, within a second the payment's verified. 100% of the time you know if the transaction goes through, you pay about 3% and the merchant gets their money next day, a couple days. Now instead, imagine you have to submit a claim to get your coffee paid for. You walk out, you have no idea if your coffee is being paid for or not. It takes 45 days to verify, unfortunately, whether or not that claim will be paid. The merchant doesn't know. Then they get a note back that says, well, unfortunately, the caffeine, it wasn't medically necessary. They get about 85%. They got to hire an army of people to fight for their last 15%, even though they earned it, and it costs them, for the pleasure of doing business, up to 20% of their revenue in a swipe fee. Sounds absolutely ridiculous, Yet this is the way our $5 trillion healthcare system works every day. Payments are completely broken, and my name is John, as I said, and my company PromptWorks is here to fix this problem, to modernize the broken healthcare payment system. So the reality today, $1 trillion of all of our money, everyone in this room, everyone in this country, is lost in the healthcare payment system. That's a lot of money that could go towards healthcare that instead is used to pay claims, to hire staff, to manage payments, you name it. We're initially focused on 25% of that problem, the $260 billion in claims that are denied every year, which leads to about a $31 billion market opportunity for us initially. This is a nightmare for the average healthcare provider. Unfortunately for them, it's complex. They deal with hundreds of health insurance companies who all have thousands and thousands of pages of policies and procedures. It's a complex, nearly infinite complexity situation for them. And unfortunately, up to 90% of the work they have to do is manual, using software that was probably written before many of us were even born. It's really terrible. And unfortunately for them, they're only successful about 40% of the time. So imagine that you've earned the money, you submit the claim, you find out 45 days later that you're not getting paid, and only about 40% of the time do you get your full payment. It's really crazy. My co-founder, Vio, and I know this problem intimately. We both actually worked at a large health insurer previously, and we unfortunately helped create this problem. So we decided to trade sides when we came out and started a company and really help healthcare providers fix this problem. So what does this come down to? Well, it would be great if you could just blow the whole thing up and start over, but anybody who's worked in an established industry knows that unfortunately that's not the case. So instead, we built an AI-based system, an agent called Reeve, that actually solves this problem by compressing the payment process. It goes and picks up data from the payment gateway, it picks up data from the EMR, it analyzes the situation, comes up with a strategy, writes an appeal letter, refactors the claim, and submits it, all automatically while the providers are sleeping. And in the case that it needs some help from a human, it pushes it out into a queue. The agent assists them, a process that could normally take a person hours, takes only about 5 minutes now. So our customers, we're focused on the average US hospital. These are the hospitals that have about 300 million in revenue. Think your average community or small metro area hospital, not somebody as large as Emory. 15, maybe 30% of their claims are denied. They lose $30 million a year. They have to hire an army of people to try and deal with this problem. It's often the difference for these hospitals between being able to stay open and serve their community and closing the doors. We all see the news every day. Hospitals are closing. Sometimes the difference between staying open and closing is a couple $1 million. That's money that they've earned that unfortunately has been denied, and they just don't have the resources to recover. So my co-founder Vio and I, as I said, we helped create this problem. We know how to solve it. We built our system to think like a payer and work backwards. We've worked with some of the largest healthcare companies in the world. And at this point, we have a few customers in contracting. We're about to cross 1 million in ARR. We're just really excited to get started and help solve this problem. And ultimately, our goal is to put $1 trillion back in everyone's pocket. Everyone in this room, everyone in the US, help providers get the money they've earned, and ultimately solve this problem and help make healthcare affordable for everyone else. So as I said, my name is John. My contact information's here. We're looking for investors, potential partners who can introduce us to companies who might be interested in what we're doing, and also hospital CFOs or executives who might be potential customers. Thank you.
So, John, congratulations and thank you for recognizing you were part of creating the problem and coming on the other side to solve it. Really appreciate that. Is your TAM the $30+ million lost revenue for the providers, or it is the $1 trillion, the bigger pool? Which is your TAM and what are you attacking?
So initially, our addressable market is the $260 billion in denials, of which about $30 billion is capturable revenue. But we ultimately want to solve the $1 trillion problem. We just picked a place to start that's low risk. We say it's like finding money in the couch cushions for providers, right? They're writing this off already. It's an easy thing for them to just hand it off and say, hey, can you help us fix this problem? So it is the $31 billion to start, but we are going after the full trillion over time.
Got it. Thank you.
Just a related one. I'm curious how you identified the ICP.
Sorry.
How you narrowed in on that ICP?
Yeah, great question. How do we narrow into the ICP? So a lot of conversations, honestly. So Vio and I know a lot of people in healthcare just having worked in it, but we probably talked to about 30 different hospitals to figure out the ones that had the most acute problem, who didn't have the resources to necessarily fix it themselves, where that amount of money would make a big difference. It was just a lot of customer conversations and interviews, and we've gone through 3 or 4 pivots to get to where we are now. And it's proving out our initial customers are actually all in our ICP.
So the hospitals are saving money, the processes are being improved. Does the money get back to the people that need healthcare? Like, is there anything,
Yeah.
like where's the money going eventually?
So it's an interesting question. A lot of times these denied claims, the hospital just pushes the responsibility off to the patient. So if it's not paid by the insurer, then you as the patient are responsible for paying that money out of pocket. So by fixing this, we're actually reducing the risk for the patient in that they will not be given a bill for $100,000 for a surgery that wasn't covered. And then ultimately by making it more efficient as well, you take the cost down. In the long run, you should see that translate into insurance premiums, but that's a ways out. Really, initially, the value for the patient is not getting a big surprise bill for something that should have been covered that, they decided they weren't going to cover.
John, I'm curious about your agent stack, right? And how you're thinking about long-term defensibility, especially as we see like more AI coming into the healthcare space.
Yeah, so it's a great question on defensibility. Really where we're coming from and the moat we're building is all around how payer systems work, pulling those policies in, knowing where to get them, knowing how payer AI works, and training our AI agents specifically to think like a claims analyst on the payer side. So that's really what we're building our moat around, is just really this intimate knowledge of the payer and training an agent that's going to get better over time based on these policies. And funny enough, we went to a revenue cycle conference. The people in the audience asked every major revenue cycle company up on stage, like, hey, where's your agent? How come your agent doesn't know payer policy? So I feel like, that was good validation. We're onto something. And the agent stack's all built on AWS at this point, and we're using a large language model. We're obviously not going to build our own to start, but it's just trained on this corpus of payer information, which makes a huge difference in overturning things.
John, I had a question about your company's name. So
Yeah.
you generically called PromptWorks.
Yeah.
So do you guys have ideas going beyond this use case to solve more?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say that is our hope in the long run, is to go beyond the US around healthcare payments. There's tons of problems with healthcare payments around the world, whether it's developing countries, in Europe, with clinical trials, there's just a ton of opportunity globally. So we tried to pick a name that's a little bit more generic, that would maybe speak to people everywhere as opposed to just, in the US. We could have picked a very US payment-centric name, but we tried to think a little bigger.
Makes sense. Anyone else wants to go?
Yeah, I'm curious about, what the largest challenge, I mean, you and the team have a great background for this, right? You know the client,
Yep.
What's been the challenge, and like, what do you think going forward will be your biggest challenge as you're scaling the company?
Yeah, our biggest challenge, honestly, is getting hospitals to pay attention. It's just, they're busy, especially smaller community hospitals. People wear 5 hats. Getting them to pay attention is hard. Once we do, it's great. We always progress forward pretty far, if not to contract. But actually getting these small community hospitals where people are doing 7, 8 jobs to stop, take a pause, and talk to us, that's been the hardest thing. And fixing that going forward, our goal is when we get a little bigger to hire people who have sold more into those markets. Obviously, Vio and I know a lot of people, but that's only going to take us so far.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Good luck.
All right, so we are Thrift Ship, and we are a tool that's automating social commerce with AI. So to give you a little bit of context, at 17 years old, I started a reselling business on Instagram. I would go to thrift stores like Goodwill or Salvation Army. I'd find some pieces, take pictures, and then sell them on this account. After a few months, I was doing pretty well, and I was doing roughly 4K a month in revenue, but I was absolutely miserable. Around 40% of my time was wasted on tedious, manual, back and forth messaging with customers. I was tracking payments on physical notebook paper, writing down line by line what I sold, how much it sold for, and a checkbox to indicate whether or not the package had been shipped out. And I was losing sales left and right because of the amount of manual messages that I couldn't respond to. My name is Valeria Brenner. I'm a graduate of the University of Georgia, and I'm the CEO and founder of a company that now has over 350 merchants who trust me to solve the problem that I lived. We're backed by Jason Calacanis' Launch University, Techstars San Francisco, and most recently ATDC through the Innovation Challenge. So in case you're not familiar with the space, online resale is a $22 billion industry, and it's actually outpacing retail right now by 5x. In 2024 alone, over 28% of consumers in the United States made a secondhand purchase on Instagram or Facebook. That contributed to just over $4 billion in revenue just through those two platforms. And beyond reselling, there's over 4 million merchants in the US alone who sell entirely through Instagram or Facebook and earn more than $15,000 a year selling this way. To kind of show you what that manual workflow looks like for not just resellers, but also people doing pottery, jewelry, art, etc. They have an Instagram account. They post pictures, typically in drops, so about 20 pictures in one go. And for a span of 24 hours, they are responding to every single comment across these 20 posts, letting people know if they've been outbid, because there is a bidding system, just like there is on eBay. Then after those 24 hours, you reach out to the winner of the bids, you follow up with them, chase them down, and then get them to pay you off platform on Venmo, PayPal, or Cash App. And then finally, through DMs or direct messages, you're asking for their shipping information and then copying that over line by line. So much time is wasted on this back and forth, and eventually your business very easily becomes a nightmare. Thrift Ship makes selling mindless, and we're starting with the resale industry. To show you our front end that we're currently building out, we have an AI assistant. You can upload your pictures to Thrift Ship. We automatically generate product descriptions and captions. We recommend pricing. Then we can post and schedule those drops for you onto your Instagram account. This AI will respond to comments, manage bidding for you, and then send checkout links automatically through DMs, send follow-ups, and process payments and shipping entirely on platform. The front end would be nothing without the business back end that's already built out and being used by our merchants. And this lets them manage their inventory, see what orders and sales they've had, integrate. We have discounted shipping integrated on platform thanks to a partnership that we already have with USPS. And then they can also manage their customers and see who's buying what and how often. And then, of course, get overall data and analytics to see how their business is performing. Our revenue potential, just with Instagram alone, with all these individual merchants, it's a $2.7 billion market. We earn roughly 1% on every shipping label sold thanks to this partnership. Starting Wednesday, we're releasing our beta into live production to earn commission on every payment that transacts through DMs. We do this through Stripe Connect. And then as the AI component comes out, we're charging a $30 premium subscription model. Since January, when we launched our product, we've grown 36% quarter over quarter organically. We have 350 active monthly merchants, and half of those came through referrals. Small businesses talk to small businesses, and so we have what I like to call baked-in virality. And just with our current customer base alone, we're looking at a revenue potential of over $200,000. We are the AI-native Instagram re-commerce tool. We replace those manual tools that these sellers are currently using. But one of the most common questions we get asked is, why aren't they just using a website like Shopify or Etsy or Squarespace, or why aren't they on these reselling platforms? And it's because that adds friction to an already very friction-prone buying process. If the customer has to click on your Instagram, then your website, scroll to the website, find the item, et cetera, et cetera. It doubles the work for the seller because every item you sell is unique, and it disconnects you from the brand. Instagram is more than just their business hub, it's where they and their brand lives. So we are raising $2 million in a pre-seed round to get to $2 million in revenue, to onboard our CTO, expand our engineering team, and do our 10x growth. Thank you.
I want to double click into your point about, some creators seeking to use like Shopify, some other e-commerce stores. How do you think about, there's this trend where creators are increasingly trying to monetize their fan base directly, and, now they're putting a lot of their content behind paid subscriber walls like Patreon, et cetera. How do you think about that in terms of like the defensibility of this business over time and your go-to-market approach?
I think that's a really great point, and there is like a lot of built-in features on Instagram for like premium subscriptions. What we've seen with that though is that it doesn't affect the sales flow, it just affects who can access the sales flow. And so there are products that we've thought about building in to help kind of monetize and like encourage this what do you call it, like monetizing your customers. What we've already seen some of our customers do is they create a like secret close friend story, and then the top customers get to access the sales first. But that still means they're processing the sales through Thrift Ship, And so how can we monetize that is kind of what we've been thinking about. And we also have kind of a very small but easy to read phases that we're going through. And phase 1 would be perfecting the automation on Instagram. And then phase 2 is actually going multi-platform. And so expanding to sites like TikTok, Facebook, Shopify, et cetera, so that these things don't become adversaries or competition, but rather room that we can grow into and actually expand who our merchants can like touch and reach.
Curious to learn more about the merchants. So how often are they selling? How much are they selling? Just how big are we talking?
Yeah, so I'll talk about our top 20% of our customer base. So this is around 70 merchants of the 350. Our ICP, I call her Allie. She's 26. She's a mom of 2. She has 2 toddlers. She just took this business full time. She was nursing before, like a nurse, and then decided that the business is taking off, and so she's doing this. She does 2 drops a week, 1 on her stories, 1 on her feed. She's doing roughly 350 packages a month, and that's kind of what her sales flow looks like, and that's who our ICP is. The top 20%, we divided them into people doing 30 or more packages a month, because that's when they start really taking the business seriously, and then either about to take it full time or already taking it full time.
It's really great that you've grown to here without paying for marketing. And so I want to, the spirit of today is the collaboration and partnerships. Can you talk more about what your go-to-market in terms of getting in front of more people, or are there partnerships that you're looking to get to distribute and expand?
So there's 2 ways that we're going to approach marketing. So with the fact that 50% of our customers are coming from other small businesses, there's a lot of potential to do like user-generated content. Last month, we like sampled this and we spent $100 on collaborations with 5 different sellers, so $20 each. For each post they had, we had 4 people sign up. 1 of them made an account, so that put our CAC at $20 for a customer essentially. And so that's from a user perspective. From a larger brand's perspective, we've been looking at partnerships with packaging and small business supplies. So think it's Magical Mailers is the name of the company. And so with our software, for example, we can see how many packages you're shipping out, what the dimensions are, and then we can also, in theory, see when you're running low on things. So it's a chance to monetize as well as a chance to tap into these businesses that are already established like in the Instagram reselling space, and kind of lean on their like popularity and like their reach in the community.
I haven't heard about e-commerce as a category before coming into this conversation, so very impressive. It looks like you guys are on your way to creating a category that can grow fast. I think my question is, what do you do, because it's a new category, what do you do to raise awareness for any other moms who want to turn into becoming a reseller on your platform too? Because it takes a bit of a community building as well, so interested in hearing.
That's actually an amazing point, and that's part of like our ultimate goal is to like make selling simple. And I don't know if you can see it on the bottom, it's empower anyone to have a small business. If we reduce the barriers of entries and we make this process that seems super complex and scary, simple, with like steps for you to grow into, that's how we as a business can empower anyone to have a small business. And then also tapping into who our merchants are and letting them become advocates as well as educators on like, how to start, what's a good place, what are like tools that you need to have already in mind. That's kind of where we're headed. We already do a blog segment every Thursday called Thrifter Thursday, where we highlight one of our customers and then they talk about what they've learned and like share essentially with the community. And what we've seen too is that roughly 45 to 50% of our customers, they started their business because they followed another business, saw that they were doing this, became inspired, and then asked, hey, how did you do this? And tried doing it themselves. So definitely capitalizing on that and creating that community bond is super, super important. And that's what we're trying to do as well.
That's fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Another round of applause.
Amazing, amazing. Everybody, come on. Congratulations to all three of our finalists. Amazing job to them all. And thank you, judges. Cannot thank you enough.
Jonathan, have our Innovation Challenge judges reached a decision?
Yes, they have. And after careful deliberation, our judges have selected a winner.
Drum roll.
Okay, let's do that again. After careful deliberation, our judges have selected a winner. There we go, there we go. Okay, we will now invite Larry, who's now back on stage, and we'll ask you to do the honors, Larry.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Natalie. Red and Tommy, you've done an amazing job with the Innovation Challenge program again this year. Thank you for your hard work, and congratulations to our finalists, our judging panel, and the entire cohort of 9 startups that were selected to participate in the Innovation Challenge this year. What a great accomplishment to all of you, and it's exciting to see these innovative Georgia-based startups. So, without further ado, the winner of the 2025 Fintech South Innovation Challenge, including a $25,000 non-dilutive cash award from TAG, is Thrift Ship.